Justin Farnsworth is a member of the Dorchester District 2 School Board, and now he's up for re-election. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I speak exclusively with him one-on-one. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. Justin Farnsworth, it is so good to meet you.
Good to meet you as well.
I appreciate this greatly. So here we sit. You are a Dorchester District 2 school board member, and obviously you're up for re-election. We're less than a week before election day. What is it like for you, Justin Farnsworth, a school board candidate and a current school board member?
I tell you, Quintin, it's a fun time. This is, first I would tell you, 4 years. 4 years goes by like that. Holy cow, 4 years goes by quick. And I really have. It has its ups and downs. Certainly school board can be a very thankless job, but I love it. I love it. When I see those kids every May and we get those kids graduating and coming across the stage, it makes every bit of it worth it. And so up for re-election and out there campaigning hard and just enjoying it, enjoying life, enjoying what I've been able to do and this difference that I'm able to make.
What is that difference that you have been able to make for the school board?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, well, first you have to ask yourself, why, right? Why, of all the things that you can go out and do and make a difference, why school board? And so, not to give you the whole history lesson, but I'll give you some background because I think it's important, right? So I was in the military.
Right.
That's how I ended up in Charleston, originally from Texas. Did about 9 years, a little over 9 years in the Navy, so that's how I ended up here. Got out back in 2007. And time went on, went into business and finance and enjoying life here in the Low Country. And I think, I look at it, and so my wife teaches. So my wife teaches right there in Somerville. She is an amazing, phenomenal teacher. Not that I'm biased or anything, but one of the best that's out there. So with her as a teacher, we had our kids, right? So we had 2 kids that were now coming up into the school district. Right. And so I started to ask myself, I think there was a genuine piece of me that missed service, if you will. Being from the military and the Navy, I think I just missed service. And I looked at it and I said, where can I go out? Where can I lend my leadership? Where can I lend my talents to really make a difference? And when you look at that, when you really drill down and look at it, school board's a perfect fit. I mean, you really think about it. 2 kids in the district, right. Wife is a teacher, right. The vested interest. And so it was just kind of a natural fit and ran, and here we are. Here we are.
That's right. You talk about here we are. You also said this, and this is what's written in the Somerville Journal Scene. Mm-hmm. It says this: Farnsworth says he thinks it's important to have different perspectives on the school board. When you sit on that school board, what perspective are you looking at?
Sure. I think, and a few different perspectives. I told you a few of them. Number one, always, the number one priority is always our kids. It doesn't matter, honestly, it doesn't matter what perspective we're looking at it from, but the number one priority has to be our children, has to be our kids, hands down, right? So I look at it from that perspective, from our kids' perspective. I look at it from a teacher's perspective. Again, I told you, my wife is a teacher. So we talk education an awful lot. Around the dinner table, around the home, around the house, we're talking education. So from that perspective, from an educator perspective, certainly a lot there. But I think more importantly, and what the Journal Scene I think was saying, was from a business and finance perspective, right? So day to day, I'm in banking. Right. I'm a wealth advisor right. here locally, and I think that's important, right? I think that perspective, looking at a school district, we manage a really large budget. Right. Our budget is over $200 million. And so I think it's important. I think you have to have folks on the board in leadership positions that understand those types of things, that understand the finances and can dig into a budget and make the budget work, right? And again, just from a business perspective, we're really, Dorchester District 2 is a large business. If you think about it, I mean, we got 26,000 kids. Right. We've got 4,000 employees. Again, a $200 million budget. that's a large-scale business. We are the largest employer in Dorchester County.
And when you dig in that budget, what do you see that you can take in and what can you take out?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a that's a great question, Quintin. You look at our budget. I think if you break down our budget and you look at, and I wish I brought it with me, but if you look at what I would say just kind of a pie chart of where our money is going and where it's not going, the majority of our budget, right, 85% of our budget goes towards what I would call instruction. So that means going to the classrooms, going to teachers, paying teachers, salary, benefits, programs for our teachers, programs for our students, initiatives in the classrooms, equipment, all of that stuff. 88% plus goes to that, right? And then there's other expenses, right? You've got a lot of kind of facility expenses, electricity, utilities, that stuff's expensive. Right. So to answer your question, what do you put in and what do you take out? I think what we've always got to work on, what we've got to put in, is make sure that our money we're getting the best bang for our money, meaning that we're putting that money towards the classroom. Okay. Whatever we have to do, whatever enhances a child's education is where we've got to put our money.
And you talk about money, you talk about teachers. Where are we with the discussion about teachers' pay in Dorchester District 2? We're
behind. That's the honest truth, and I hate to say that. And I've said this for years, right? And I realize teaching is one of those professions. Again, it's a very thankless profession. I don't know that you would ever find a teacher in the world that said they want to go into teaching to make money. I don't think you would find it, right? Teachers want to go into the profession because they want to make a difference. They want to educate our children. They want to change the world, right? They don't do it for the money. But with that said, it's a very noble profession, and we don't pay them what they're worth. And it really is just a shame that we don't pay them what they're worth, because what we find, and again, it's unfortunate, we continue to put more and more and more and more on our teachers' plates, right? We get state mandated testing, we get federally mandated testing, we get all these new programs, all this new curriculum, they get new administrative tasks, they get all sorts of paperwork, they've got all sorts of meetings. There's less respect in today's classroom. That's, I think, just a part of society in general, which is also a shame. So all of those things, all those factors, then play into the fact that we're not paying our teachers enough. And so what we're starting to see is teachers leave the profession. We're seeing more and more teachers leave the profession, and we're not seeing enough teachers enter the profession. And so it's really, it's a challenge. And so again, I think the lion's share of that, the big piece of that, is we've got to pay our people more.
Describe to me the following one word: Act 388.
Act 388. Act 388. That I could hopefully you got hours of tape. Hopefully you got hours of tape. Act 388. So for folks that don't know, and I would venture to say the majority of our community has no idea what Act 388 is. Right? Act 388, and I'm going to talk specifically for Dorchester District 2. Act 388 is significantly hurting our district. It is killing our district when it comes to funding, right? So Act 388 was legislation that was passed 2007, somewhere in there, right? 2006, 2007. And what it did was it took away, it shifted the tax burden, right? So if you are a primary homeowner, meaning that you are a 4% homeowner, you would no longer pay school operations, right? So you would no longer pay that cost in your taxes. And what the state did was they raised sales tax by 1 cent. That additional money was supposed to, and the way it was designed, was supposed to go to Columbia, to the legislature, and they would then equitably send that money back out to the districts. Mm-hmm. So based on the commerce and the industry in that particular county and that school district, that money would then come back to the school district, right? So what happens is you look at a place like Dorchester District 2.
Right.
We tend to be, and it is what it is, but we tend to be very much a bedroom community for Charleston. We're a suburb of Charleston. Boeing, Volvo, Bosch, Mercedes,
Right.
they're all building in Charleston.
Right.
And then all the people live in Dorchester District 2 because our schools are so good. And so what happens is we build more and more and more homes, but like I just said, the homeowner is no longer paying school operating funds. They're not paying that revenue into the tax system, and it really hurts us. I mean, you're somewhere to the tune, I would say between $7 and $10 million a year that we lose out on just from Act 388 in Dorchester District 2.
And quickly describe to me the following in one word, your reelection, if you are to be elected as again.
Yeah. Action. Action. I think we get in a habit and we go to our board meetings and we go around and we talk to a lot of people and we do a lot of talking. A lot of folks want to get up there and they say, I want to do this, and I want to talk about this, and I think we should do this, and this is a bad idea, this is a good idea. We do a lot of talking, and it's time to take action. Our teachers, their morale, I can tell, is lower because we haven't taken action in a long time. And so it's time for us as elected leaders to step up and say, here's what we're going to do. We are going to do this right now. We're going to take the steps that we can take that's in our authority, that's in our power, and we're going to take action, and we are going to make this better.
What letter grade would you give yourself right now as a school board member?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a good question. What's tough is I don't want to brag or be over the top, but I do think I do think I'm a very active board member. I try to be very active in the community. I try to get good information out to the community, my Facebook page,
Right.
my cell phone.
Right.
I really try really hard to do that. I think that's important. I go to our schools a lot. I volunteer in our schools. I take feedback. I listen to a lot of different people and concerns and issues and you name it, and build really good relationships. So I think you wrap all of that up, and for me personally, I feel like I do a really good job. This next Tuesday,
Right.
here in a few days, that of course will be the ultimate deciding factor. But again, I work really hard at it. It's a passion for me.
Okay.
It's not just kind of a side job, and I go to 2 meetings a month and I forget about it.
Okay.
I try to be involved, and it's really important to me.
Justin Farnsworth, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate this.
Absolutely. Quintin, good to meet you.
Likewise.